conducting us. I was like, oh, I've got an option. And that musical introduction is our way of saying, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Sunday here at First Unitarian Society. And it's not just another Sunday, this is Stewardship Sunday, and you'll hear more about our stewardship campaign a little bit later. For now, let me just say good morning and welcome to First Unitarian Society, where independent thinkers gather in a safe, nurturing environment to explore issues of social, spiritual, and ethical significance as we try to make a difference in this world. And speaking of things that are different in this world, I'm Steve Goldberg, a proud, enormously popular member of this congregation. And I'd like to extend a very special, same to you, Carol, a very special welcome to any guests, visitors, and newcomers. If this is your first time at First Unitarian Society, I think you'll find that it's a special place, and we invite you to join us for our fellowship hour right after the service. Speaking of the service, this would be a perfect time to silence those pesky electronic devices so that you can avoid the shame of public flogging. And I invite you to sit back or lean forward to enjoy today's service. I think you'll find that it will touch your heart, stir your spirit, and trigger one or two new thoughts. We're really glad that you're here. And now I invite you to join in a moment of centering silence so we can be fully present with each other. That's enough silence. Please rise for our ingathering hymn.
Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where there'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where there'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound.
Please remain standing for our opening words and the lighting of our chalice. Come, you accidental pilgrims, you who find yourself on a journey of surprise and wonder. Come, you who emerge into this place as an act of liberation. Come, you who seek a life of mindfulness and a place to test your thoughts.
Come, you who bring hearts of all kinds, heavy hearts, rusty hearts, hearts broken open in revelation, hearts full of love to share. Come, you who seek courage, and you who have more courage than you realize.
Come, you who stand behind the curtain, gathering the resources to claim your truth. Come, you who have been in a bubble. You who are poised for transformation. We begin our story again, gathering courage, love, mindfulness, and a sense of purpose.
We gather as people of all ages, of different abilities, different backgrounds, and different perspectives. We share a covenant, a direction for our journey, and a commitment to encourage and challenge one another to spiritual growth. We continue together reading Lynn Cox's words as our chalice lighting, printed in your order of service. And together we say, "This path will ask much from us. Let us move forward with love. Let us move forward with appreciation for one another. Let us move forward knowing we are not alone. Whoever you are, whatever your gifts, you are welcome to join this journey." I invite you to turn towards each other and offer a warm greeting.
Good morning. Come on up. Morning. Oh, how are ya? Hi. How are you doing? Good. It's good to see you today.
There's lots of space.
Here they come. Winnie, you coming up? Hey. Good to see you all. So a little bit later in our service today, Steve, who just did our announcements, can you turn and say hi, Steve?
Hi, Steve.
There he is. Later on, Steve's going to be talking to everybody in here about the kickoff of our stewardship campaign. And this year, we really want to start this campaign with thinking about all the wonderful things that we have in abundance here at First Unitarian Society. And abundance is this word that you have a lot of something. You can think of abundance as being like a bucket that's overflowing with water, or those times when you're so happy that you start to giggle, and you just giggle and you can't help but laugh out loud.
And we see abundance everywhere in our world. Stars are a good example. There are more stars in the night sky than we can see or even count. And in the spring, which is just around the corner, I'm pretty sure, there can be wildflowers in the fields, and there are so many colors. That's an abundance of blossoms. So have you ever tried to count the number of seeds in a sunflower? There are so many. It's an abundance of seeds. Or think about if we were on the beach right now and all that sand was all over. There would be an abundance of grains of sand.
Or how about the number of blades of grass? I know it's out there under all that snow, but it's out there, right? Have you ever tried to count blades of grass? That's an abundance. And speaking of what is out there right now, how many snowflakes do you think are out there just in the courtyard? I think we can agree a gazillion. A gazillion's a good number. I think we can agree that we have an abundance of snow.
And we have an abundance of good things here at First Unitarian Society, too. We have an abundance of amazing people. They make this community great. They are people who share their time and their talents, who volunteer and help in your classrooms and share their gifts wherever they can. We also have an abundance of learning opportunities. The classes that you're in, the programs for grown-ups, the lectures, the workshops, everything. It's an abundance.
And what about our music? We have an abundance of really wonderful music, especially when our choirs sing. Can you turn and say thank you to the choir? Thank you. Look at them all over there. Do you have any favorite things about FUS that we have in abundance? What are your favorite things about this place? Any ideas? What do you like about it here? Coffee. Yeah. I thought Anya was going to say that. Mo got it first. The coffee. How about the adults? What are some of your favorite things?
Great RA classes.
Great religious education classes. Very true. Do you like your classes? What's that, Laura?
The ministers and the whole worship team.
Oh, thanks, Lorna. I didn't even pay her to say that.
Say the ministers.
Cabaret. You just got to sing it for some reason. Friendship and hugs. We have an abundance of friendship and hugs here.
We also hope that you find other things that are in abundance here too. Things like friends and love and joy. All of those help us create a better world. And you know the other great thing about abundance? When you realize how much you have and all the things that you have in your life, you just want to share it. And it just makes you feel really good to share.
And think about it, just like those giggles, sometimes when you get the giggles and it just bubbles over and out and you can't stop, you just have to share it. When we realize all the wonderful things that we have in abundance, out of joy and gratitude, it makes sharing all the more meaningful and it feels really, really good. So we are glad that we have an abundance of you here with us this morning, and we're going to rise in all the ways that we do and sing you out to those fantastic classes with hymn number 1003.
This is a round, and we'll sing it twice through with no repeats. Just 2 times through, and then we'll sing it again as a round, and this will be Team 1, and this will be Team B. I'll see you after class, Steve. Where do we come from? Where are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where? Group 1, let's try. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are Group 2? Here we go. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where? Let's do it one more time. Where do we come from? Where are we? Where are we? One more time. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery. Life is a where do we come from? Where are we going?
You may be seated. So it is a new month and a new theme, and as we begin our journey our new theme of the month, we invite again our worship team to help us explore it. And perhaps you've noticed that every month there is a slightly different way that we engage the worship team. And sometimes that's entirely intention, and sometimes that's just the members of the worship team that are available that first Sunday. But either way, we try to give you a variety of ways to engage the theme through the worship team interaction. Sometimes it is a couple of us on the worship team that give us a little more time to explore with a little more depth. But very often, such as this month, we begin with the entire worship team and offer a variety of understandings of what it means to be a people of journey. And that is both an opportunity to invite you to find your own way of connecting, and a reminder that just as the worship team has to begin from their own deeper place of connection to really engage the theme fully, the same is true for each of you. You bring your own life experiences, your own way of knowing what is true about life and your journey. And so we begin that theme. But also today we think about the concept of stewardship, and in particular, the abundance of gifts that are essential to this place, both in what is embodied in this congregation and what we bring in our own giftedness. We remember that this is a place that offers sustenance and connection and life-changing and life-saving support on our journeys in life. As I began to explore my own connection, I looked at the root, the origin of the word journey, and I was interested to find out that it comes from the old French word journey, and that in particular that word is translated in a variety of ways, but the common ground of the translation is the word day, like a day's length, or a day's work, or a day's travel. And that understanding makes its way into our language in a variety of ways. For instance, at one point, a journeyman was a way of understanding a person who was a day laborer. And when we are trying to take our thoughts about a particular day, we will enter those into our journal. So, while it is often the case when we hear the word journey, we think of the big picture of what we do with our lives. An important reminder of the source of the word is that it is always also inviting us to be more fully present in this moment and this day, understanding that really, that is the place that we intersect meaningfully with our lives, not some larger picture, but how we choose to engage what is in front of us. And so week after week, we come to this place to try to live into that understanding in a more meaningful way. How might we do that work today? Well, we might begin with the idea of Simone Weil, who reminds us that the beauty of the world is the mouth of a labyrinth, and that labyrinth may be inviting us into the beauty in how we engage the width of dreams that are a part of our lives. Perhaps it is some possibility that is happening in your job and career right now, or the idea of maybe a new job. Perhaps for you it is some new relationship that is budding and feels full of potential. Perhaps it is some way in your life, not yet fully in words, but in an idea that there is new possibility. However it is that we engage it, this time gives us the chance to think about that possibility, to understand it, both in the specificity of who we are now and the larger context. It is also an opportunity for us to live into the reality that often those bits of beauty do not turn out the way we expect them to. that the possibilities in our job don't always pan out the way we wish, and often what we do is a challenge day to day. And our relationships are sometimes as much a source of pain and difficulty as they are of wonder and joy. And that truth is a human reality that we all share. In some way, in various times in our life, we will feel disappointed and disengaged, and at least for a while, lost. And the question will be, will we focus on that which is lost or the new possibilities that are offered? The Reverend Eric Martinez Resley wrote, "As it happens, there is much that awaits us in our lostness, much to be excavated, examined, even exalted in not yet knowing what will be. We are offered the opportunity to appreciate what already is, the things hiding in plain sight. A frayed relationship, for example, may reveal our deeper needs. An unfulfilling career may motivate us to seek out a mentor. And any misstart or misstep may remind us of our own human fragility, which is an invitation to open our hearts and sensitize ourselves to the suffering of others, that powerful place of connection and compassion." Over and over again in this place, we live into the reality, as Vi suggests, that if we do not lose courage, if we go forward walking in the labyrinth, we eventually will arrive at the center, which is the place of deep, holy connection. And so in this place, week after week, through our communal experiences of worship, in the crucial work of our children, youth, and adult religious education, and remembering again and again that we need a place of spiritual deepening that gives us the tools not only to recognize the importance of the places where we feel connected, but also in the possibility of our lostness as well, as an invitation to something new. So in our spiritual exploration in this place, we will continue to honor and utilize all of our human giftedness because we need all of it to be complete. We will continue to draw on the gifts of intellect and wisdom in our services. We will continue to use that great wisdom in our religious education. We will hone our abilities to tap the power of our feelings in concert with discernment and strengthen the emotional intelligence of our community as a whole. We will speak diligently to the power of our work for justice and equity. We will seek better understandings of the gifts of our body and in our movement, in our being, in our sexuality, in the gift of breath itself, find our wholeness. So we celebrate this place that seeks to reorient our journey, to recollect our scattered thoughts into places of deeper direction and discernment that welcomes all that we are, to embolden the truth that lostness itself is a gift in our lives. As we journey together in this place into that deepening, we are reminded of the truth of the words of Joseph Campbell. Where we had thought to travel outward, we will come to the center of our own existence. And where we had thought to be alone, we shall be with all the world. May that journey bring us to deep celebration today and in the days to come.
This reading comes from the great South African leader Nelson Mandela. I have walked that long road to freedom. I have tried not to falter. I have made mistakes along the way. But I have discovered the secret that after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb. I have taken a moment to rest here, to steal a view of the glorious vista that surrounds me, to look back on the distance that I have come. But I can rest only for a moment, for with freedom come responsibilities, and I dare not linger, for my walk is not yet ended. Working for peace and justice has long been an integral part of my religious life and spiritual practice. So I'm excited to reflect with you on the abundance of social justice opportunities here at First Unitarian Society. Inspired by the work of a Unitarian Universalist minister, the Reverend Richard Gilbert, we can think of social justice as having 5 pillars. The first pillar is service. This includes those hands-on activities that help others. These are easy to think of for me. Raising money for our partner church, which we happen to be doing next Saturday. Cooking and serving a meal at a homeless shelter, or collecting donations for the Humane Society. These acts of service can give us opportunities to build relationships with one another and to grow spiritually. The second pillar is education. This helps us as a congregation understand specific social justice issues more deeply. First Friday film nights, mayoral forums, and adult religious education classes are all excellent examples of the ways we educate ourselves about timely topics. Today's 2:00 event about the Great March of Return is another opportunity to learn about peace efforts in the Middle East. The third pillar is organizing. This pillar seeks to establish grassroots partnerships in order to make changes for social improvement in regional and statewide coalitions. By partnering with Voces de la Frontera, FUS is siding with immigrant communities, and by organizing through Moses, folks have been working to improve the Dane County Jail, as well as the city and county law enforcement policies. The fourth pillar is advocacy. This is about raising our voices, speaking on behalf of people or causes we stand with. For example, Wisdom's upcoming Madison Action Day on Tuesday, March 26th, is a chance to engage in advocacy. Over 1,000 people from across the state are expected to gather at the state capitol to lobby representatives about important issues in the proposed state budget, including transportation and criminal justice reform. The fifth and final pillar is witness. This includes public displays of solidarity. Think of climate change rallies, the annual Pride Parade, or the interfaith prayer vigil held here last fall after the shooting at the Tree of Life Synagogue. This coming Wednesday, on March 6th, folks will gather for a candlelight vigil at the Social Justice Center on Willie Street to honor Tony Robinson on the 4th anniversary of his killing. All of these are examples of bearing witness. Indeed, there are an abundance of ways here at First Unitarian Society that allow us to live out our Unitarian Universalist values through service, education, organizing, advocacy, and witness. I am grateful to have fellow travelers like you, as together we, and in the words of Nelson Mandela, walk that long road to freedom.
poem that the choir just sang part of is called Ode by Arthur O'Shaughnessy. I'll read what we just sang for you, but there are 8 verses after this that I won't read unless you really want me to. Okay. We are the music makers and we are the dreamers of dreams, wandering by lone sea breakers and sitting by desolate streams, world losers and world forsakers on whom the pale moon gleams, yet we are the movers and shakers of the world forever, it seems. Well, as a music maker, I find this poem incredibly affirming. It makes it sound like the world would be lost without artists, and maybe that is so. And that is what I'm going to speak on today, the role of an artistic mindset in our future. We sang earlier a hymn, Where Do We Come From? Who are we? Where are we going? The text of that hymn was actually written by the painter Paul Gauguin. And that is the title of the painting that he felt was his best work. And in his career, he traveled to Tahiti and anywhere else to answer those questions. Where do we come from? Who are we? Where are we going? We do not need to be an artist for our mind to work artistically. Artists create for a living. We specialize in discovering new avenues of beauty and expression, and in the process of so doing, often discover something about humanity that is worth considering as our society matures. But artists aren't the only ones who think like artists. A creative spirit is not limited to those in the creative arts. So what role do the arts play in society that we can learn from as non-artists? Well, art can serve as an archive of the past. When you go to a museum to see Gauguin or some other painter, sculptor, you're seeing a vision of the past. What we don't know is what the artist was thinking when he or she created the work. Were they trying to envision what for them was the future? Art also serves as commentary on the present and inspiration for the future. The artistic mind builds in fantasy, builds the future in the mind's eye, builds worlds outside the world. And it doesn't take an artist to do that. A politician with vision doesn't necessarily mean that that politician had any artistic training or background. One of my heroes, Robert Shaw, said, "For finally the simple truth is that everyone is an artist, whether we want it or not. The only question is whether we are enough of an artist to fulfill our humanity and fill full our short mortality." And I return to Arthur O'Shaughnessy's Ode for a line that we didn't sing, but which is germane to our conversation today about stewardship and journey, where we have been, where we are going. He writes, "For each age is a dream that is dying, or one that is coming to birth. Maybe both."
These are the words of the Reverend Victoria Safford. She calls them a map for the journey in progress. Here is where I found my voice and chose to be brave. Here's a place where I forgave someone against my better judgment, and I survived that, and unexpectedly, amazingly, I became wiser. Here's where I was once forgiven, was ready for once in my life to receive forgiveness and to be transformed. I survived that also. I lived to tell the tale. This is the place where I said no, more loudly than I thought I ever could, and everybody stared. But I said no loudly anyway, because I knew it must be said, and those staring settled down into harmless, ineffective grumbling, and over me they had no power. Here's a time, and here's another, when I laid down my fear and walked right into it, right up to my neck in that roiling water. Here's where cruelty taught me something. And here's where I was first astonished by gratuitous compassion and knew it for the miracle it was, the requirement it is. It was a trembling time. And here, much later, is where I returned the blessing clumsily. It wasn't hard, but I was unaccustomed. It cycled round, and as best I could, I sent it back on out, passed the gift along. This circular motion around and around has no apparent end. Here's a place, a murky puddle, where I have stumbled more than once and fallen. I don't know yet what to learn there. On this site, I was outraged, and the rage sustains me still. It clarifies my seeing. And here's where something caught me. A warm breeze in late winter, birdsong in late summer. Here's where I was told that something was wrong with my eyes, that I see the world strangely. And here's where I said, yes, I know. I walk in beauty. Here's where I began to look with my own eyes and listen with my ears and sing my own song, shaky as it is. Here is where, if by surgeon's knife, my heart was opened, and here and here and here. These are the landmarks of conversion. Each one of us would be able to draw a map such as the one Victoria describes, one that has landmarks that mark those conversion moments in our own lives, moments of unexpected forgiveness or overwhelming compassion, paralyzing pain. We could each create our own map with these defining life moments marked for all to see. The great student of the world's religions, Houston Smith, once claimed that we humans are nothing more than embodied souls undertaking spiritual journeys, and we are each called to act upon what we find. His words echo our fourth principle, the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. And I would add to our principle his belief that we are called to act upon and live out what we find in our search. A crucial piece of being able to do that work is to find those spaces and places and people where you have the time and the support of others to do the work of reflection. Our small group ministries, one of the important and life-giving aspects of our life together here. Our chalice groups and exploration groups and journey circles, these are such spaces. What we hope is that these small groups become places where you can reflect on your own experience, on your landmarks of conversion, the times when you have been surprised or loved or hurt. These are communities where you are welcomed in and welcomed home, sustained and nurtured on your journey toward wholeness. The late Reverend Forrest Church said that to be who we are is to offer to the world the greatest gift we can give, to invest our lives and all that we do with sincerity and authenticity and deep commitment leads us into relationships with other authentic selves. And in entering into those relationships that are sacred in the true meaning of that word, we cannot help but bring our collective power to bear against the forces of injustice, hatred, and oppression. Our collective wholeness will, by definition, heal the world. We all yearn to live lives that matter, to share our vulnerabilities and our sensitivities, to offer them up to others in a spirit of acceptance and hope. In this way, we can heal ourselves and help in the repair of the world. We can do this, one person, one relationship, one small group at a time. And I now invite you into the giving and receiving of our offering. Our outreach recipient is Journey's Mental Health. And as we shared with our children, when we give from abundance, it feels really good. So we thank you for supporting their good work today with your generosity.
Thanks to the choir. Thanks to all of you for your generosity during our offertory. I think it's very fitting that the name of the organization we are supporting with these contributions is Journey Mental Health Center. And if you're familiar with Journey, you know that the work they do for people in our community is extremely valuable. So thanks for that generosity. And we also want to thank the generosity of volunteers who make sure that the service runs smoothly. This is a special group of people. You can join them. Before you join them, maybe you should give them a hug or add them to your will, something. Because we really appreciate Richard Scobie running the sound system, Lynn Scobie, who was our greeter as you came in out of the cold, and I'm sure you were as happy as she was that the service is indoors instead of outdoors. We're grateful to Mark Hill and Dorrit Bergen for serving as ushers for this unruly crowd. Richard DeVita and Jean Hills for hosting the coffee that we will enjoy in a few moments. And Karen Rose Gredler for hosting the information table out in the Commons. So, a couple announcements before we conclude the service today. The first two announcements are about music, and the third announcement is about the annual stewardship campaign. First, the music announcements. Music Sunday this spring will be April 14, which happens to be a Sunday. And the music that will be performed at that concert is going to sound very familiar to you because you just heard a taste of it during the offertory. That Mass will be performed with a professional orchestra and soloists, and you get to join the singers if you would like. No experience is necessary. You just need to be able to move your lips. And Drew will make sure that you get all the rehearsal and preparation that you need. Just show up. No auditions are necessary. The rehearsals and preparation will be Thursday evenings and/or Sunday afternoons. See Drew or email him if you have any questions and you would like to participate. The second musical announcement is our annual harpsichord recital that will take place in the Landmark Auditorium a week from today, Sunday, March 10, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, featuring compositions from the court of Louis XIV, also known as Louis XIV from France. Some featured musicians, and the tickets are $20 at the door or $12 for seniors, students, and veterans. You don't have to be all three to qualify for the discounted $12 price. That's next Sunday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And now for my favorite part of the day, and that is to talk to you a little bit about the annual stewardship campaign. It used to be named the annual campaign, but we decided that during this transition year we would rethink the concept of our fundraising campaign. It's a campaign that provides almost all of the money needed to run this enterprise that we call the First Unitarian Society. And as you know, FUS is going through a transition period right now. And I've always believed that transitions are an opportunity for people and organizations to show what they are made of. And we've decided that the First Unitarian Society is made of stewardship, a sense of collective responsibility for something bigger than ourselves, hence the stewardship campaign. And speaking of abundance, I'm really excited, enormously excited to tell you that we are starting this campaign from a position of abundance. Because during the quiet phase, and we'll be quiet no longer, but during the quiet phase of the campaign, we've already raised $400,000 in pledge commitments from members of this organization. That's more than 1/4 of our goal, and 1/2 of the pledges represent an increase over last year's level, and 1/3 of the pledges include a multi-year commitment which qualifies those members as sustaining stewards. So we're giving people an opportunity to be a sustainer, which means a multi-year commitment so that your gift can keep on giving longer than just for the 1 year. Hence, we're no longer calling it the annual campaign, it's the stewardship campaign. And I'm excited about the sense of stewardship that's already been demonstrated. And because of your stewardship, we will be able to fully fund and resource all of our religious education and youth programming so that every young person can feel valued here. And because of your stewardship, we will be able to continue providing and growing our holistic programming for families so that families can thrive here. And because of your stewardship, we will be able to fully resource and staff all of the programs and services that this organization offers so that FUS can be truly a spiritual home across all generations. And because of your stewardship, FUS can become an even stronger voice for social and environmental justice in our community. Because of your stewardship, we will be able to host more community events in our welcoming spaces, thus deepening our connection to the larger community, while at the same time generating a nice revenue stream to support this enterprise we call First Unitarian Society. And because of your stewardship, we will be able to fully leverage our world-class music program as an additional community outreach tool. Imagine that. So that is the kind of abundance we can create for ourselves, our community, and the future generations who so enjoyed today's message for all ages. And they got kind of excited about the idea of abundance. I'm excited for the next month or so because throughout March, we're going to be promoting this campaign. And it will stop, I promise, at the end of March. Please don't make us call you. Instead, circle the date of April 5 on your calendar, because Friday evening, April 5, we're going to celebrate the successful outcome of our abundance and of this campaign of stewardship. Friday evening, April 5, a family event, a party right here, and I promise to write a song for it. Okay? But only if we reach our goal, so keep that in mind. But we're not just going to celebrate April 5, we're going to celebrate every weekend in March because we're going to provide prizes to people who participate in the stewardship campaign, sharing our abundance with you. And the prize is a $25 gift card for Food Fight restaurants. So let's see who the winner is this Sunday. We had a winner last night at the Saturday service, a winner earlier this morning at the 9 o'clock, and our winner of a $25 gift card for Food Fight restaurants is Janice Knapp Cortez. Janice, are you here? Well, come here, Janice. Is there a photographer in the house? Maybe later. Thank you, Janice, and to almost 100 other people who have already participated in the early stage of this campaign. Now, the campaign has been in the quiet phase, but we are quiet no longer. And you've received your pledge envelope already. You can also donate online, and we have two staff members from FUS, Cheryl and Florence, at the back of the room. They're usually pretty shy, but today they're up and waving. They'll be staffing the table for those of you who want any help completing your pledge online or any other questions you might have. So the only question I have is whether we're ready to demonstrate our stewardship and respond in a spirit of abundance for this organization we call First Unitarian Society. I think we are indeed ready to do that. I'm excited about it, and I'm starting to work on my April 5 song already. So thanks for your participation. We'll be back at you every week to celebrate our progress. We're feeling really confident about this, and we're feeling so good. We're going to invite Drew up here right now to lead us in our closing hymn. Drew.
Hymn number 116, I'm on my way. We'll do two verses, verse number 1 and verse number 5. I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way and I won't turn back. I'm on my way and I won't turn back. I'm on my way and I won't turn back. I'm on my way and won't turn back. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way.
May you be brave enough to expose your aching woundedness and reveal your vulnerability. May you speak your deepest truths, knowing that they will change as you do.
May you sing the music within you, composing your own melody, playing your song with all your heart.
May you draw, paint, sculpt, and sew, showing the world your vision. May you write letters, poetry, biography, slogans, graffiti, the great novel, laying bare your words to love and hate.
May you love, even though your heart breaks again and again, and until the end of your days, may your life be filled with possibilities and courage. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of greater wisdom, not the fire of that possibility and courage, not the warmth of love and community. These remain in our lives until we gather in this place again. I invite us to take our seat one more time to receive the gift and worship of music.